Welcome to this explainer. Okay, so we've all been there, right? You pick up your phone to check literally one single text message, and boom, suddenly half an hour has totally vanished into this blur of short-form videos. It's incredibly frustrating, and it always leaves you wondering how on earth you got stuck in that loop yet again. Well, today we're going to unpack exactly how that happens, and much more importantly, how you can actually take your time back.
Okay, let's dive straight into this. It's kind of the ultimate psychological mystery, isn't it? Why do I keep opening Reels even when I really don't want to? Now, if you've ever thought this, you've probably just blamed your own lack of discipline. You think, I just need more willpower. But actually, the answer isn't that you're weak. Not at all. Your brain is responding completely normally to a system that was specifically built to erase friction and crank up the reward.
And that brings us to the anchor concept of our whole explainer today. The truth is, Reels do not mainly win by being important. They win by being unpredictable. This is absolutely crucial to understand. Your brain doesn't experience Reels as just content. It experiences them as a possible reward. Think about it. Every single swipe is just a tiny gamble. Sometimes nothing happens. It's boring. But sometimes you get drama, a huge laugh, or something totally surprising. It's that exact uncertainty that makes the loop so incredibly strong.
Section 1. The Hidden Attention Loop. So, to truly regain our focus, we've got to shift gears and uncover the mechanical engine driving this whole scrolling experience. You see, your brain isn't just a passive screen. Actually, it's more like a security guard. It's constantly scanning the room, placing bets on what might be worth noticing. The mind doesn't just consume, it predicts. Think of it like walking past a street-side food stall. The smell of the food drifts out and hits you before you even see the pan, right? You aren't fully committed to buying anything yet, but your mind has already started moving toward the possibility of a reward. Social media is masterfully designed to keep that exact bet alive, giving your mind just enough novelty to stay hooked.
Now, what's really interesting here is how we can break this complex mechanism down into plain English. Notice the flow. First, a cue catches your attention. That immediately creates an expectation, which pulls you in closer. Then, the reward hits. Something funny or relieving appears on the screen, and finally, repetition. The behavior happens again and again, which simply makes that mental pathway easier for your brain to travel down the very next time.
And this perfectly illustrates the hidden engine beneath our habits. Once you actually see those gears turning, cue, expectation, reward, repetition, the behavior stops looking like this mysterious, unbeatable magic. It's literally just a mechanism. And recognizing that mechanism, that's the very first step to getting your control back.
Section 2. Why willpower always runs out. So, if we know exactly how the machine works, why can't we just force ourselves to stop? Well, willpower feels really strong when the urge is small. But once that attention loop is already active, using brute force discipline, it's literally like trying to stop a bicycle by grabbing the front wheel after it's already rolling downhill. I mean, you might be able to hold it back for a brief, agonizing second, but it takes constant, exhausting effort. And the exact moment you get tired, the bike just keeps going. The habit isn't a choice anymore. It's a default pathway.
So the crucial point here is that we have to upgrade our mindset. The old mindset says, I should stop. I just need more discipline. Why am I like this? It totally relies on arguing with the habit. But the new mindset, it steps back and asks a very objective design question. What starts the loop? Because you don't defeat a habit by lecturing your brain. You weaken it by changing the very conditions that keep it alive in the first place.
Section 3. Designing a better system. Remember, we're dealing with a design problem, meeting a completely normal human brain. So we've got to start with the triggers. A habit almost always exists because it solves a problem for you, whether that's boredom, a buzzing notification, waiting for someone, or just feeling mentally drained at the end of the day. These cues are like a doorbell. If the bell is loud and easy to hear, you're going to answer it automatically, right? The cue doesn't force you to scroll, it just wakes up the pattern. But if we can blur or disrupt those cues, that automatic response finally starts to slow down.
Next up, we must address the reward and the friction. The shorter the gap between wanting and getting, the easier a habit becomes. Think of a TV remote control sitting right next to you on the couch. You'll flip through channels constantly. But if that remote was way over in another room, you'd barely touch it. Social media right now is a remote control glued to your hand. It shrinks the distance between impulse and reward to zero. We need to add healthy distance, and we need to replace the reward with something that still gives your brain a bit of relief, just with way less cost.
Let's move to the next step and see how this builds into an actual actionable system. And the best part? You don't need some huge dramatic life overhaul. Step 1.
Simply leave the phone out of immediate physical reach during certain parts of your day. Step 2, enforce a short pause before opening the app, just a breath, to break that automatic physical action. Step 3, have just one planned default alternative ready for when boredom hits, like stretching or listening to a favorite song. It's these small, repeatable friction shifts that actually change the shape of your reward path.
Section 4. Regaining your real control. All right, now that we've redesigned our environment, it's time to shift entirely away from self-blame and step into mastery. A lot of people try to solve screen time with extreme intensity, like deleting the app forever or doing a massive 30-day digital detox. But intensity is fragile. Your brain does not trust dramatic promises. It only trusts repeated evidence. If the new normal isn't workable, the old loop always comes back. Consistency is what wins. Can you repeat a tiny friction shift, like leaving your phone across the room while you eat lunch, often enough that the old loop simply starves and loses its strength? Because that is how real change happens.
And look, as you build this consistent system, you are inevitably going to slip up. You'll find yourself scrolling. But a lapse is not a failure. It is data. If you catch yourself mindlessly scrolling again, do not feel ashamed. Just analyze it objectively. It just means the cue was stronger than expected, maybe the phone was too close, or your alternative action wasn't ready. It's literally just information. Information you can use to tweak your environment for tomorrow.
And that right there is the ultimate breakthrough. We are moving from blunt, exhausting self-control to deep self-understanding. You're no longer just someone trapped by a random urge, fighting yourself all day. You're someone who can actually see the structure underneath the habit. When you can see the loop, the cue, the gamble, the reward, you're no longer just mindlessly scrolling. You are choosing with your eyes wide open.
Which leaves us with this final thought for you to take away right now. Look around your physical environment and your daily routine. What small friction will you add to your system today? Just one thing. Remember, you don't need to change who you are. You just need to change the distance to the remote control. Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer, and happy designing.